Okay, let's call this meeting to order. It is 7:30 on Wednesday, January 19th. Welcome everyone to the regular City Commission meeting, City of West Miami. If we could all rise for the invocation. Madam Manager.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, members of the public, let's bow our head this evening and ask, Father in heaven, we commit this meeting to you. Come and reveal your will in every aspect of our life. And as we discuss all of our city affairs, we ask your will be done. Show us your purpose. Enlighten us so that we may know how you want for us to accomplish our tasks and our goals. We desire your glory and blessings in all that we do. Direct your thoughts, words, decisions, and actions towards the right path and help us stay on track. Let your will be done as we plan and make decisions on behalf of our city during this new fiscal calendar year. Please keep our military personnel and law enforcement officers safe. We pray for the ill, the frail, and the lonely residents so that they can find peace. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Frank, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Item 3, roll call. Mayor Rhonda Rodriguez.
Present.
Vice Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón.
Here.
Commissioner Candida Blanca. Commissioner Juan Blanes.
Present.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 4, presentation of minutes for approval for January 5th, 2022, regular commission meeting.
Need a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 5, public comments.
Do we have anyone that has signed up for public comments, Madam Clerk?
I have Mr. Gonzalez, but you'll wait for now. Yes, in case.
Okay. Welcome back, Mr. Gonzalez. Nice to see you. And that's it? No one else?
No, Madam Mayor.
Next item.
Item 6, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Commission. This evening I have a verbal report. The first thing on the report is in front of you, you have the new 2022 citywide street sweeping calendar. We will be delivering these to every home in the city of West Miami so that our residents can move their cars the day that the street sweeper is going to come by, and that'll help us keep our drains clean and our streets clean. So this calendar will be delivered, hand-delivered to the properties. We're going to use our rec center staff, and they'll start the process on Friday. This was picked up today at the printers.
Excellent.
We will publish this on our social media page as well. We're going to send an email blast and publish it on Facebook and all of our platforms. The next item on my report includes a letter that I was instructed to send to the apartment buildings in the city of West Miami at the December 1st, 2021 commission meeting. I have sent to you this evening before the meeting, I sent you a draft letter. I've asked everyone for input. I had the letter pretty much all drafted. I put the final touches to it this afternoon because it took some time for Mercy out in Public Works to give me a list of all the properties, all the management companies, to include all the apartment buildings, the villas of West Miami, which are privately owned condos. And so that takes time to put together the report. So to your question, Madam Mayor, you asked me for a follow-up the other day. I don't know whether it was in person at the office or by phone. This is the follow-up. I've asked everybody to please give me your input. Along with the letter, we're going to send out copies of the section of the Code of the City of West Miami that deals with the issue of dogs. So we're going to not only provide them the link, which is in the content of the letter, we're going to provide them with a paper copy. And also, I am requesting a copy of all the template leases that they have to make sure that they include our information, and we're asking them to include our information in the lease agreement so that their tenants, when they come and move in, or in the case of ownership, they know and they become acquainted with the city regulations. So I am kindly asking them, in lieu of possibly facing fines or actions by the city, to partner with us so that we can limit the complaints coming from the residential part of the city. So I'll be working on this, and if you have a chance in the next couple of days, please look over the letter, and if you suggest any changes, I would appreciate it. So,
Excellent.
but I've been waiting for some information that it took time to compile.
And on that letter, Madam Manager, if you will remember, we spoke about when you send that letter to the management companies, if you could ask them to let us know. I know you're asking for the new tenants to be advised, but I'd like for them to also notify their existing tenants, you know, of what you're sending them.
Right.
Rules and regulations.
Right.
If you would ask them to let you know when, if they can, when and how they're going to advise their tenants, just so we have a follow-up on that. So we kind of like, you know,
And we did, we're
put the
asking him in the
responsibility on them
letter,
to let us know.
and we're asking them in the letter so that their office can assist us in familiarizing the dog regulations and avail those to their tenants and owners. So it's not only for their new tenants or new
Good.
condo owners, it includes those that live there at this time, those families
Okay, very good.
who own dogs,
Okay, excellent.
okay? So, I sent it to you today, but this is the draft letter. The next item on my report is just a simple report to advise the mayor and city commission that the city of West Miami has applied for a grant in the amount of $24,650, and it's a firehouse sub-grant, correct, Pete? And if I may, if I could get the major to tell you what this grant will do for the police department, because I think it's important that the community knows how we go about giving the tools and the equipment the officers need to deal with emergencies.
Please, Major.
Major?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commission. About 2014 was the first time that we saw this grant come out through the Firehouse Subs. And basically what it is that they donate money to police departments and fire departments to get life-saving equipment. So in 2014, we were able to procure 5 brand-new AEDs for our patrol officers to carry in their vehicles. And so this year, they're offering more money. So what the goal is to do is to put 1 AED in every single police car, so that not only do the officers have it when they get here, but they have it on the way here. In case there's an emergency, they can make use of it wherever they're at. And this is not going to cost us any money. It's not a match grant. It's just straight from Firehouse Subs.
Very good. Thank you, Major.
Okay.
Thank you.
That concludes my report, Madam Mayor. If anyone has any questions, members of the City Commission, I'm happy to respond to that.
Any questions for the manager? Okay, next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 7, report of the city attorney.
Yes, Madam Mayor and the City Commissioners, we have received information from the Florida Public Employees Commission that they're ready to send the issue of the elections to those people that are employed by the Public Works Department. The ballots will come out, and we will have an opportunity to participate in the results. Copies of the information have been sent out to the city manager. The city manager will receive from the Florida Department of Public Employees Commission certain ballot posters that will need to be placed around the city, and eventually we will have a poll of the ballots, and the manager and I will be able to participate in the viewing of the opening of the ballots.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the attorney? Okay, moving right along. Next item.
Item 8, report of the city engineer.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. My only report today is regarding the only ongoing project right now, the water main project, as you all know. We are finally almost at the end here. We have one more block left to finish the rear easement service connections. Contractor is planning to be complete by next week on the work back there. We have a walkthrough scheduled for early next week and generate a punch list. So hopefully we'll be done here within the next 2 or 3 weeks with all the items and finally move on. And that's kind of where that's the only ongoing project right now.
Excellent. Now, this is the completion of
Phase 1A.
Phase 1A.
Mhm.
When do we anticipate our next?
Phase 1B is the one we're still working on moving forward with that.
Okay.
So we should, hopefully start on that design in the next month or so, and be able to go to construction probably around summertime. So, and that'll be the next phase, and then we'll move on to Phase 2, which is the larger piece of it,
And then Phase 3 and
and keep on going.
keep on going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Frankie. Any questions for the engineer?
Yeah,
Yes.
real quick.
Oh,
Oh, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
I want to recognize something.
Today is the distinguished engineer. His happy birthday today.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
So,
Happy birthday,
I
Frank.
think,
Birthday.
And your presence here that you're with us today. That's our present to you.
That's all right. Thank
Okay,
you.
you need to leave. Finish your report
No,
and you
I'm
need to
fine, I'm
leave.
Real quick. I know a while back we talked about when the lines get connected, the pressure might increase into the houses,
Mhm.
and that we were gonna send some advisement out when the lines were gonna get connected to, look out for that. Did we ever do that?
I don't believe that went out. No.
Okay, can we work on it? 'Cause just because I'm hearing now some complaints from some residents,
Okay.
which they're obviously very
No,
happy
we
to have new
definitely need
lines.
to. Yeah,
but-
we need to get that feedback for sure.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Juan about that.
Awesome.
When we get something out.
Thank you. Just put on the radar.
Well, progress is a good thing, so. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you and, and your company. I live in that first area that was done, and, this was a major work. I mean, and you know what? It was done very fast and very well, and it's just very intense. So, I'm kind of glad to see that, almost everything's back
Yeah.
to normal.
No, and I think there's a lot of lessons learned. It's funny because the bulk of the infrastructure that's put in, the large pipes, really didn't take a lot of time. All the work in the right of way. I think we kind of underestimated the efforts that it really takes to work back there in those easements. And that's taken probably double the time it took to put all the big pipes in the road.
Yeah.
So, I thought that part was gonna move quicker and it didn't. So, lessons learned, we move on to the next project. Now we know what we're looking at. And
I was more impressed with the big pipes. I mean,
yeah, the
that-
big pipe goes in quick. I
That-
mean, these guys
yeah.
are, the contractor that we had is definitely a pipeline contractor. They put that work in quick and, but I don't think anybody's used to working back in those little easements, so.
Yeah, all in all, let me tell you, they did a great job.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
The is the future plan to continue doing it in the easement?
We've looked at the easement conversion, converting them to the front, which the county has been doing in a lot of places. They do it obviously for ease of service and all that. But we have the easements, and I think looking at it with Juan in terms of maximizing the dollars that we have, I think we're gonna continue down that route. Nowadays the meters are remote. It's not like we really have to go service them all that often. So with new technology, I don't know that we really need to do it, and we get a lot more bang for the buck, because if you decide to move the services to the front of the house, we have to run mains basically in every street. So in this case, we're only running mains on the avenues and then running all the service laterals. So we really maximize our dollars, keeping it the way it is.
Yeah, I prefer in the easements because you
Yeah.
don't tear up the yards and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Thank you.
And I like maximizing our dollars,
Yeah,
so.
that's really, that at the end of the day, that's the driving factor. It's we're gonna be able to maximize our dollars and, rather than, if we do the front conversions, we'll have to be going into every single property, rerouting their plumbing. It's not an easy task.
Stay the course.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a
No,
question.
I have
Yes.
a question.
You'll be next, Madam Manager. Go
And
ahead,
also,
Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
now, we have divided the city in different areas. This was, we may call the first, number
Yes.
one. We finished 25% of the area, or 40 or 60.
On phase one, it's approximately half of it. So on the next phase, phase 1B, And a portion of phase 2 will basically, with what we have planned on phase 1B and phase 2, will effectively finish 90% of the city north of 16th. So it's a lot that we have planned.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Madam Manager?
Madam Mayor, thank you. If I may ask Frank Alonso a question, I'd like to know whether you can work simultaneously with, obviously, Phase 2, Phase 2A, if you want to call it that, right now, if you could work simultaneously with a balance with Phase 2B, which would be used with the use of the dollars that the commission approved under the American Rescue Act, because I want to be we want to be as proactive as possible.
Yeah. We'll be
Yeah.
running them at the same
I'm
time.
just afraid that, if the state, or because these are federal dollars that have been allotted, that if they don't see activity, that they may start to send emails and saying, we know that you may be planning something, but if you don't have something going on now, we may recapture the funds and give it to other agencies. You know how this works.
Absolutely.
So that's a concern that I have. And so there's time to use up the money, but I don't know whether it's a possibility that we can start addressing Phase 2, if you can bring a proposal forward for at least the commencement of that phase of the project
absolutely.
simultaneously.
Yeah, phase 1B and phase 2, we'll submit that and we'll get moving.
Right, and obviously for billing purposes, we can
Yeah.
talk about how we're gonna segregate those invoices, but for the purpose of both grants, the
Yeah.
state grant and the American Rescue
Yeah, as a matter of
Act.
fact, I think I agree. We should run them concurrently and we should bid them out concurrently. Try to get the same contractor and all that. We just, you keep the funds separate projects.
Right, and could we go out to bid on the construction in phases as well?
Either way, yeah, we can either do it in phases or put them out to bid at the same time. 2 different packages, one bid package with 2 different phases. We can do that. We can figure it out. I mean, to
All
get
right,
it, yeah.
so we can talk a little bit more about how we're gonna do this, but I would like to see this move forward as quickly as possible, and I think the commission would like to see that very
Absolutely.
much.
Okay.
We did so well with getting that money in the ground right away with the first pot.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can do it again.
Absolutely.
It speaks volumes. So we go ask for more, they show that we put our money where our
Yeah,
mouth
that's
is.
the key. They
so
want to see
Right.
stuff on the ground.
Good job. Okay, anything else for the engineer?
Thank you.
Go enjoy your birthday, sir.
Happy birthday.
I'm sure Mr. Penna can take care of whatever else comes up in your absence. No, oh, no. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 9, committee reports before the mayor.
I don't have anything this evening, Madam Clerk.
Any other committee?
Hearing none, next item.
Next item, item 10, unfinished business. Item 10A, follow-up report by Director of Public Works in reference to FPL replacement of street lights. This item is continued from December 1st, 2021, commission meeting.
Mr. Pan?
Who's Mr. Penna?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. As discussed at the December 1st Commission meeting, from requests from some of the residents that were in the audience that night, we contacted FPL and the next day, and we sent them an email regarding the project that was at hand at that time, which was the replacement of the street lights with the new LED lights that we had agreed to. We sent, at that point, I toured the city that night, and about 80% of the streets were already done. And there was the avenues that were to be done at a later date. However, in touring the city now, I see that the project is about 90% complete. FPL is here to provide answers to any questions you may have. I don't think the message actually got through about stopping the work at that time on December 2nd or 3rd after that.
Thank you, Mr. Penna. Armando, thank you for being here.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners. I'm here actually with Ariel Lazo. He's our project manager on our street lighting. And, you know, that, Ariel, if you want to come up. But, you know, we did look at this and, you know, we spoke with our contractor and he's assured us that once we gave the word, they had stopped, and in fact, there's still pockets. Ariel rode through the city today and checked, and there's still some pockets that were not done. So, as far as we concerned, you know, we did stop, and there's still work pending.
Okay. Thank you. Ariel?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. As Armando mentioned, December 2nd, I received an email from Mr. Pena asking to cease the conversions of the LED lights. We quickly sent an email to the contractor and notified them, can you please just halt until we hear back from the city? They did, at least is what we were told. On the 27th or 28th of December, I believe I received another email just making sure, hey, you guys, did you stop the project? I reached back out to them. They told us we haven't done anything. Yesterday, I did the same thing, just to follow up again. Did you guys stop? And they sent me a lengthy email guaranteeing us we didn't work on it. There's still pockets that we have to finish. Once you give us the go-ahead, we'll go back out and finish up the remaining lights that have not been converted.
Excellent.
Yes.
What was it that I made a call to you?
You called me regarding the avenue signs.
Actually,
the evening of the meeting.
I noted a couple of lights that were changed to that new LED, bright spectrum light, and we had agreed that we were gonna, and I think it was like a week after, around a week after, and I saw that these lights were changed, so that's when I inquired, hey, how come they're continuing with the work? So, you know, at least 3 or 4 lights that I know were changed after, you know, we contacted you, and I don't know, maybe possibly more. You know, I know how it is, things get lost in communication. So, but basically, you know, it's come to our attention. There's a lot of residents. There's some here. There's some that are not here. But it's come to our attention that, you know, they do not like that spectrum of lighting.
Okay.
You know, it takes away from the ambience, you know, which, you know, in a way affects the quality of life. You know, what we've always been used to here in the city of West Miami. So my question is there an LED light with a soft spectrum lighting, like, what is it, 2800K?
We don't have a 28 or 2700K. We do not have.
You do not have that?
In that range, no. We
So
have a 3000K.
what do we have there now?
A 4000.
4,000.
Yeah. We have 3000, 4000, and 5000.
Okay. So the 3,000 would be in the middle?
No, the 4000. The 4000 is the one that we offer that's in the middle. We have up to a 5000.
So what do we have there now?
A 4.
A 4?
Yeah.
So that is like the softest light available?
No, the softest is 3000. You have a mid-level, which is the 4000, and then you have what you would consider a bright white, which is the 5000.
Okay, so what we have 4
and 3.
And
well, no, you have 4000. We offer 3. We offer 3000, 4000, and 5000.
Okay.
The 4 is what we consider the middle ground.
Right. So I think the big question is, can these lights be replaced to the 3,000?
Unfortunately, due to it being in the tariff, once they're installed, there is a net book value and a removal cost for us to remove them to a different style of light. We do offer other things like shielding, where we can put a house side shield in case there's a light that may be disturbing someone.
So what would it cost?
You're looking at anywhere right now, approximately, the ballparks can be anywhere from, depending on the fixtures you have, from $650 a fixture to up to $750, $800 a fixture.
To change a light?
To replace those. Correct.
How many people does it take to change that light?
No, it's
Well, because remember, we installed the light fixture Commissioner. It's already there, so there's a net book value for that. So to take that off and put a new one.
So it's not just the bulb?
No,
No, it's an
the whole
entire fixture.
The whole fixture that's on that, on the Cobra head, right?
There's Cobra heads and traditionals.
Yeah. So the whole light fixture, it's not only the bulb, it's the whole fixture.
It's the whole
that would
thing.
have to be replaced.
So whenever one of these fixtures goes out, it's not necessarily a fixture that they're gonna, light bulb that they're gonna.
So how many lights, do you know how many lights you guys changed?
In total, you have over 400. I'd have to
How many
get
you changed? Do you
I'd
know?
have to speak with the contractor to get an exact count.
I have a question, Mayor.
But you could say it's about
When he's
80 to
done.
90%.
80 to 90% of that, yeah.
Or 90% of 400
Correct.
have been already replaced.
Oh, 400.
Now, I will say the majority of the municipalities have gone with the 4,000 because it is in that middle spectrum, from Dade County, City of Miami, South Miami,
South
the
Miami.
majority, yeah.
I have a question, Mayor.
When they're finished, sir, yes, sir.
And if I could add, remember with these lights, there's an energy efficiency.
Right.
So you're saving money, and with the light, the spectrum of the light is also brighter, but it is safer also in the sense that, you know, it puts a lot of light on the street, you know, for safety. You could, you know, tell the color of cars, or actually with a sodium vapor, you know, it could be a black car, it could be a green dark car. With these LED lights, you know, what we've seen is that traditionally, you know, security, law enforcement likes it better because, you know, there's more of a, visually, you could tell the color of cars, you could see, you know, if anybody's hiding somewhere, so, LEDs have been traditionally, well accepted in all the communities that we've done, and, you know, Commissioner, what I can mention in other communities where, you know, people have, you know, had a concern with the light, you know, what we've done is installed like a light shield, you know, which blocks the light from coming into the residential part, and it just pushes it onto it. And that's been something that's, in my experience, has resolved many of the concerns that residents have had with the light.
Now, there's no cost if we get a call from a resident and they request that to do that?
No,
Or is
ma'am.
there? Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner, you had a
Yes.
question? I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner Blanes, are you finished? Are you done? Commissioner Blanes? Okay, Commissioner.
Well, yes, my questions, questions and comments, and I did some kind of research with some friends in other cities and other people in other cities. And between 3,000 and 5,000, most of the cities and the people who do that selection, they select the 4,000, right?
Correct.
And according to what you was talking about, and I think Mayor of the Police knows about that, if you get during the night, it's a dark blue with the actual lights, and they take a picture. You never know if it's a black or a dark blue. But the 4,000, that's the light we are using, and you are using, and this other cities are using. They know if it's a green, dark green, or dark blue or black, because these lights can detect the pigments, you know, in the colors of the picture and the paints more efficient. And I think I was talking to neighbors, and the neighbors in my area, they, by the way, they did in Christmas a lot of decorations. They spend money in big decorations there. And everybody is very happy with the actual lights. Everybody's actual very, very happy. More lights, nobody talk about, you know, because nobody wants to make a space program here. But they very happy with this. And myself, I have one in the next house of me. And we are very happy with it. And the neighbor in front, across, everybody's happy with the 4,000. Because one of the things, and the police department knows, is about the coloration of the cars and details, if it's necessary, when they have an emergency, or there is some kind of problem with some kind of robbery or whatever. And in my opinion, 4,000, there was a resident here that always the changes have people in pro and people against. Always happen. If it's raining or if it's not raining, always happen. But I found okay, and my neighbors find okay with it. We have now 4,000.
Well, there's some that don't feel the same way. There's some that don't want their lights changed. They're happy the way the lighting
Well,
is.
they are happy
And
with
and
it.
if we
with this
must,
light.
and if we must change them, I think that we should consider then changing them to the 3,000,
We have the 3,000.
to the 3,000. You know, that's the very least that we can do. I mean,
Let me ask you, because I don't pretend to be, at least most of the time, pretend to be a lighting expert. What do we have before?
Anywhere from 2,500, about 2,500, 2,700, depending on how the fixtures were.
And then go ahead.
But it was
It's
a whole other technology.
Correct. It's high-pressure
It's a
sodium.
high
pressure sodium.
High pressure sodium.
And then what is that in terms of the look? What does that do?
That yellowish light that you would see, throughout the county, that's been going away because
Right.
all the jurisdictions are moving to LED.
Does FPL have the same deal with Coral Gables?
We do.
Has Coral Gables switched out their lights?
In some sections, more on the commercial section, where they've gone with they're going with 4,000K, and some 5,000K, depending on the area.
And the residential sections?
They have not done residential yet. No.
Do they
Some
plan to do
areas-
residential with you guys?
They do. They're
And-
just waiting on some of the things that have been going on with the county and the city of Miami that are bordering them to change those.
I can't speak for the city of Coral Gables because that's not one of my cities. I do represent the city of Miami though, and they've gone,
Yeah.
they've done all the 25,000 light conversion.
Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove as well.
As well.
So what do they have in Coconut Grove?
4,000K. There's some lights though, they have not been replaced yet, they're part of the FDOT, and Dade County with the FDOT, those have not been touched yet, because those are not our lights. So those belong to the FDOT. But yeah, Coral Gables, 4,000, City of Miami, 4,000, and in the Coconut Grove area.
If I'm not mistaken, you did say the majority of municipalities in the county have done that.
Majority
That's- you
have
did
gone with
say
the
that.
4,000K.
Who has?
One at a time, one at a time, one at a time.
Just quick. Who has the area of Coral Gables? Who's the FPL?
Addis.
Addis. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Commissioner?
No, my question is this, the previous light, what we changed it, was kind of mercury, the mercury, right?
High pressure sodium, very similar.
So with mercury,
Very, very similar.
yes, and
Yep.
yellow, that's the difference. The
Very
yellow light doesn't illuminate enough.
Very
All right, thank you.
Anything else from the table?
No, I don't have any problem with the lights.
Well, like I said, I think we should consider in the areas where we have residents that don't like that very bright, stark light, that we should consider, in those particular areas, changing them with the 3,000 versus the 4,000. If it's LED, I can't imagine that that's going to be a very big difference. And, that's the very least that we can do if the lights need to be changed. I mean, is that what the plan is, to change all the lights? And we
The plan
must-
as
and we
presented
must-
was to change all the lights
Okay, because
citywide.
there's an area where there's like about 5 or 6 residents, and they've all told me they don't want the lights touched. They're happy with the way the lights are there in that area. So the question is, must we change all the lights?
That's the way that it was presented to us. It was a citywide effort to change all the lights into the
Okay.
LED
So-
lights of our choice.
So if we must change all the lights, then the very least that we can do is consider in this particular areas where you have all these residents that are not gonna be happy, if you put that 4,000K light to put a 3,000K light, which, would be, the best thing that we can do. And it's LED, right?
Yes.
So, it'll be an LED light, you'll have the cost savings and everything, you'll have the lighting and,
If I might make a suggestion, why don't we try starting with the shield and see if that works?
This, I know exactly what you're talking about, these shields, I've seen them, and that's not the point. The point is the you know, the broadcast of the light, you know, in front of your house. It's not that the light is going into the residential area. It's just the lighting in general that is not a pleasant, you know, a lot of people don't consider it a pleasant lighting, a pleasant spectrum. Consider this in your kitchen when you're cooking. Imagine having a 4,000K spectrum while you're cutting and chopping your onions and your green peppers and your red peppers. You know, you're cooking. Let me tell you, it's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. You want the soft light in your kitchen, you know, in your bedroom, you know, especially in the bedroom. You know, you don't want a bright light. You know, it's more pleasant. You know, it's more pleasant, and I think that's what these residents, you know, that have approached me. I don't know if they approach any of you others, but you know, like I said, there's at least a dozen residents, you know, that I know of that, you know, they don't consider that a plus. They consider it a minus.
Let me ask, I have a question, maybe.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay.
Take your
Because
time.
I understand, Commissioner Blanes, I understand that you don't like it, that you found too bright the 4,000.
No, I personally, you know, I'm neutral here. I'm just representing the residents out there that have come up to me and have told me, you know, that this is a detriment to their quality
Okay,
of life, that
so
they don't
you
like
have-
this
you
life.
have- you have neighbors
So it's
that-
not me. It's not me personally.
You have neighbors that prefer 3,000. My neighbors prefer like it is, the 4,000. There is a way that you make them up, and you said, such a street is 3,000, such a street is 4,000. Can you do that? Because I don't have idea how we can make
Before-
happy everybody.
Before we go into changing out fixtures, I would suggest that we do what we did with traffic circles. We noticed the whole block of the where these complaints that you're getting from, and get the majority of that block to vote if they want to keep the 4,000 or if they want to bring it down to 3,000. Because you don't want to be changing out to 3,000 and then somebody calling us and saying, the light is dim now, why? So I would say we do just like we did traffic circles. We notice the whole block, and whatever the result of that voting is on that block, then you decide whether you want to go down to the 3,000.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Now, I do have
Okay.
a concern. Obviously, this money is not budgeted because we're talking between $650 to $800 per fixture.
Per fixture.
How are we going to handle the money?
I think that's like $220,000. I don't think that's going to be a thing
But it's
that
not
we.
budgeted, so where would this money, what, you're talking if we change the entire,
To
all
change,
400
what is
lights?
it? To change 360 lights at $650 a pop, that's like
But to
220 something thousand.
Commissioner Suarez's comment, not all residents want their old lights back. So I don't think that we should do this citywide, for
No,
sure.
Listen, I think that, I
Wait,
think,
wait.
I
Well,
think,
when
What
it's
do you
not
say
that
when you refer to me?
No, that you said your residents that you've talked to
They
like
like
it.
it, they like
But
we have now.
Commissioner Blanes is saying to change all the city.
no,
No,
I didn't say
I
that.
I'm saying I think you were quoting the 400 lights, the 280,000 for the 400 lights. Is that what you referred to?
No, I didn't say anything like that. I said that if we intend to change those lights, it will cost over $220-something thousand.
Mm-hmm.
Money that we don't have.
270,000 to change
200,
out 300.
almost 300,000.
lights.
That's all the lights.
So at
That's
this,
what I mean.
So
You're
at this
talking about
point,
all the lights, right? All
300
400,
lights.
right?
300 lights.
well, there's only 360 lights or
I thought we
300.
said somebody,
400.
FPNL said 400. That's what I based it on.
Yeah, but you haven't changed them all, have you?
Yeah, about 90%, 80-90%.
Okay, so it's 360 lights.
Right.
So that's about $220-something thousand. You know, that's money that we don't have. I don't think we can do that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that we need to change the lights.
I didn't say you said, I'm saying when you said, you threw out that amount, it was encompassing all the lights that have been changed to change them back.
Yeah, but I don't think well, they're not gonna, it's not gonna be on their nickel
No, it's on ours. That's what I
And-
said. That's what I
and,
meant.
You know, I don't think we have that kind of money to do that.
That's exactly what I said.
And
Going
like
in circles now.
Commissioner Suarez says,
Right?
there's some residents that really do like those lights.
Exactly what I said. What am I?
Right. Okay.
am
So
I- am I not
I'm hearing the
speaking
same thing
English?
from everybody. So let me just the on your point, Commissioner. I think the remaining lights, whatever 40. Let's be really careful. Let's try to poll the residents on that at least, so we don't. Can we do that at the very least, or no? Tell me. Tell me.
That's a lot of, a lot of work to go to every house and figure out whether they like
64th
the light or
Avenue,
not.
11th Street, 12th Street, all that area there, there's about 7 or 8 residents that are happy with their lights. And, you know, they like that soft spectrum. So if these lights in these area need to be changed, then, you know
Well,
what?
what we need to do is get a list of all the complaints that you've gotten from the area, so we could notice the whole block.
64th Avenue from 11 to 12th.
I'm happy with my light.
Right, but we need to notice them in order to be able to poll it, because we don't want to change the lights that she's happy with someone that doesn't like it either. So there has to be a way to do this, and the only way to do this is to notice the whole area that you're changing lights out in, because we don't want to put a light that we're going to have to take back down again.
In hindsight, that's what we should have done.
So can I suggest something? Because we're gonna go into a very deep thing here, and then, honestly, it doesn't have to take place right now. You know, we're just thinking off the cuff.
Which
We
should
have-
take place right now because we have
Well,
FPNL
right,
here,
but
so this is a perfect time.
We
to
have
this
we have
discussion.
40 lights that haven't been put yet, and that we kind of have to make sort of a decision on because, you know, we have them on a hold, right? And then we have the 360, which we already know the cost to replace them, and it's high, right? And I think that is not as urgent. We can kind of think about that one and have the administration brainstorm how we can approach, you know, making residents, you know, making good on their complaints if it's possible. So I think the 40 lights is something that we got to deal with sort of more urgently, I would say now, on how we're going to approach the remaining ones. And then the 360 that we have, I think, you know, we should let administration, you know, the manager and Penna talk about, you know, come up with a plan, you know, a reasonable plan that we're talking about now, but not off the cuff, you know.
All right, but Vice Mayor, I would suggest the 40 lights that we have pending to
Complete
put in,
them.
put them on hold. There's no reason to rush into those.
Okay, and we can do that, there's nothing, okay.
And just deal with the ones that we have as far as complaints. Let's get rid of the complaints first, because some of the lights that they may be taking off, we could use to replace the 40 and reduce the cost of the replacements.
Would that work? Please do.
Aren't those the yellowish lights? I'm sorry.
No.
Mayor.
The three, and then some, if we have to replace any of the 4,000 with the 3,000, I'm saying take that 4,000 fixture instead of just FPL doing whatever they want with it, put it at another place. It's still a brand new fixture. All it has to be changed is from one pole to another pole. And we could hold those for the 40 that are still left.
I have another question, if I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
the intent of the program to have uniformity citywide? Yes, that's your answer.
Let me,
So,
So you have to be very careful if you
Quick-
start to
quick-
replace.
Quick question.
4,000.
Is there like these are flood, right?
No.
These
No.
are,
LED
these are
no.
spot?
No, you don't have any floods or directional floods.
You don't?
You have
Okay.
Cobra heads and you have what, Cobra heads or roadway lighting or your traditional lighting.
Okay, so it's a flood, and there's no such thing as a spot.
let me, Mayor, let me tell you, the people in the 66th Avenue, all those people with the apartments in the back and the alleys, they're very happy with these lights. Because now the illumination is much better, and they can see better the alleys, everything. Light is light in the night today in this world.
Well, that's
We
the whole,
have,
that's the whole reason why we're having this long discussion, because you got some
Well,
people that are
I'm
happy
telling
with
you-
it, and then you got some people that are
Well,
not.
I'm telling you,
That's
people,
why,
I've
that's
been-
why we get paid the big bucks and we sit here, right?
But
So,
I've
so,
been
you know,
t- I've been t-
we're trying to be
I've been telling
Solomonic
you,
about
people has
this.
been talking, and people like, you know, like the terrace, they like the lights to the buildings, to see who's walking the dogs, or da. That area, they likes the light. because they likes to see the dog is white or brown or whatever.
Right, but again, yeah,
Brown.
One at a time.
different neighborhoods, different neighborhoods like different things. Like I would bet money that Coral Gables won't be replacing until the 4,000, right? I'd be willing to bet money on that. On the residential,
I
on the
got
residential.
money, I got money on that too.
I got money on that, right? Because
Guys, let's
different.
keep it to West Miami,
no-
not Coral Gables.
Well, no, because what I'm saying is different neighborhoods and different fields and neighborhoods have different ways of looking at things, right? And different wants and needs, right? Go ahead.
If I may, just
You wanna
real
bet with
quick,
me?
if I may, and this is just, anecdotal, and maybe it'll help you, but, to Juan's point, I was personally involved in a case, and I will not mention the city, where we were asked to remove a light, and then the neighbor next door called and complained, "Why did you take that light away? I liked the extra light." So we got into that issue where the two neighbors were at each other's, were fighting with each other. One wanted the light, one did not want the light. So, at the end of the day, the city in question had to make a decision on what to do. But, I think you have to move forward very, very deliberately, because, you might have neighbors that actually now enjoy the new light.
Question, the lights on 62nd Avenue, those are Miami-Dade County. What is the intention there? To change also to that?
Yep.
They're cost savings at the end of the day. We're paying now about $60,000 a year, $70,000 a year for the FPL to power these lights. We're going to cut that in half with these new lights. So it's a cost savings at the end of the year.
Madam Mayor, if I
Yes,
may,
ma'am. Go
since
right ahead.
we are downstairs dealing with the public, I have heard, and I want you to know, because I know that you're all in and out during the course of the day, but we're there, pretty much all day, and we hear from our city residents. One of the things that resonates is the issue of the trees that were covering the poor lighting, as I've heard it referred to in the past, because our trees are now mature, they have canopy, and so residents who like to walk when they get home from work, and they go out, and there's a lot of people in the city that walk, are really happy with these lights. I've heard from the residents, and so I bring that to your consideration, because I think everything that has been said here has a tremendous value, one way or the other. So what I would encourage you to do is maybe to provide us with a list of residents that have complaints with the addresses. We'll sit down with Florida Power and Light and see how we can mitigate this. But I think that and Penna, you know that I like to brainstorm with you before the meetings, because I think your institutional knowledge has a lot of value. But going to an election right now, in a complete block, may create dissension among some residents. And, people get opinionated, times are hard with this COVID, pandemic that we've had to live with for the last 18 years. I don't know, but I don't think that's a way to mitigate it. I would take it on a one-to-one case. Any complaints that you have, we can create a list, an inventory. We can sit down with FPL, and we can come back and tell you a report. We have 10
Like the-
residents who are
like the
not happy
circles.
with.
You're trying to do like the circles? Like the
No, sir.
circles,
No, that's what Juan recommended, but he
it's
tried.
similar what you said, right?
No. The residents that come to you as their elected leaders and complain, or come to us and complain about the lights, we can create an inventory list,
That's what
sit
Juan
down
said.
with FPL to see what alternatives can be introduced, and without going to the entire block. I don't believe that that's a good idea. I mean,
Okay, that's what I asked them, if they can change one or two or three or not.
right.
That's it.
Well, and that's fine as long as we don't lose sight of what Armando said. We don't want to pit one neighbor against the other.
Exactly.
So we as a city need to be very careful that we're not instigating that type of a problem? And if so, how will we handle it?
Right.
Because
the-
it's
and-
not if it'll happen,
and
it'll
if we
be
have-
when it will happen.
And if we have volume, we need to sit down and talk about the investment that the city has to make to retrofit the lights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for
Once
Thank you,
again,
sir.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be in touch.
good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, next item. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Gonzalez didn't want to speak on the issue
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
because I had him here, I had his speaker's card, so.
I did not know this was your item, so go right ahead, sir.
it's okay.
Thank
I
you,
mean, I-
Madam Clerk.
I originated the question, in December. I know that they've left, but a couple of things, light is very complicated.
Would you like me to bring them back?
No, it's
Are you
okay.
sure?
It's okay. It
Okay.
doesn't really concern them. It concerns us. They don't live here. But light is very complicated, and it's been thrown out like brighter, less bright. Just so you know, there's not a difference in brightness. We're talking about color. So when he says 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, it doesn't mean more light. It just means from yellow, not the old orange that we had, to less yellow, to white, to blue, to purple. Lights they work on a spectrum. So we're not talking about if we would have done 3,000, we would have less light. We would have the same amount of light. It just wouldn't be white light. That's the thing. And then when we talk about police and safety, which I'm totally in favor of, we're talking about the color rendering index, right? If you put a red apple under like a crappy halogen light, it looks less red. If you put it next to a light that has a good CRI, it looks red, right? We left the old technology to LEDs, but we didn't have to change the color. We could have kept something like a 3000 that's similar, warmer, and we would have improved the CRI. We still would have been able to see the dark green car, the black car. My question, or I think the missed opportunity is, did FPL even ask us, do we want 3,000, 4,000? Maybe they didn't,
They did. We
Okay,
sat with them. They did.
okay,
They gave us several options.
that's good. So I'm glad that they at least, gave us the option. Now, when I originated the concern in December, I maybe jumped the gun, but I knew the conclusion was going to be, we can't do it. We're not going to spend $250,000 to change the lights. So what I suggested is, we need a lighting ordinance. We need something that we can put, we can lean against and say, this is the city of West Miami. We do want uniform lights. I'm actually not in favor of one block being 3,000, one block being 4,000. It's going to look awful. And 62nd, if we're going to go to 4,000, we should match it so the city is uniform. Was 4,000 the best choice in my professional design opinion? Probably not. And, are cities making that call? Maybe. Are their poles taller? Maybe. We don't know. We don't know if they have the same height poles. So for our city, I think 3,000 would have been better. You probably have 3,000 in your house. You may not even realize it. So that's a very common light. When you go to Home Depot, soft white, it's 3,000. Nobody buys like the surgical room blue light for their house. It's just crazy. So I am in favor of uniform light. I'm glad that we're working through it, and at least the conversation was had. But I will continue to contact you guys about a lighting ordinance so that we can make improvements in other ways, like spotlights that people are putting in the corners of their houses and all these crazy things. I think we can improve the quality of the city and still have good lighting. And thank you guys for doing what you did and contacting an FPL, having them here. It's really impressive because I'm just one person who came to complain about a light, and I'm glad that things are moving. I like small towns, so thank you. That's all.
We listen, that's what
Thank
we
you.
do.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming back in, just in case there was any questions. You too.
Thank you. Good night.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Yes, item 10B, this is a presentation of recognitions of employees' anniversaries, and we had Rafael Moya, 15 years of service, And this item was postponed at the January 5th commission meeting, and Mr. Moya is not present.
Why don't we just present this to him
Mr.
during the
Penna?
day, Mr. Penna?
Madam Mayor, is it possible we have a mitigation or issue on the agenda? There's an owner and an attorney representing him in the audience. Is there any way?
Yeah, it's next. It's
Oh,
next.
that's
It's
next.
Yes, yes.
Thank
yes.
you.
Mr. Penna, let me know when you're going to present that to Mr. Moya. I'd like to be back there
Yes,
to
ma'am.
present his plaque to him, please.
Will be my pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, next item.
Yes, item 10C, this is a request for mitigation of lien for court violation of the property located at 5770 Southwest 9 Terrace, West Miami, Florida, and owner Luxor Residential Holdings LLC.
Name and address for the record, and I apologize, I didn't
No problem.
realize our lighting would take so long. If not, it would have taken you out of order.
I
My
appreciate that, no
apologies.
problem. Keith Diamond, 3440 Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood, Florida, 33021, attorney for Luxor. And I have the representative Luxor here as well.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett, would you like to speak first to this? Mr. Diamond, you can stay with you. Okay.
Basically, the property at 5770 Southwest 9th Terrace was an old 1920s built house that was in poor condition. Luxor Holdings bought it, kept it for a while, then they decided when they couldn't repair it to tear it down. They removed it, and once they removed it, they were, after 6 months, they were in violation of our ordinance because the new house wasn't being put in quick enough. We have, once you demolish a structure, you have 6 months to start the process of erecting the new structure. During that time, it accumulated fines up to $12,000.
12,300 and change. That's in the
And
packet.
that's what they're here tonight to
995.
mitigate. The land right now is under construction with the new two-story house that was approved subsequent at a later date.
So they are in compliance?
They're in
I
construction,
mean,
yes.
right.
If I could, before Mr. Diamond goes on, is there any blight for the neighborhood or anything?
The property remained an eyesore for a while until they decided to knock it down because they determined that the structure was too far gone to repair. And then after that, just the vacant land for
Right, but
couple of years.
the violations for the vacant,
for having the demolishing and not starting the
right, so
construction.
during that period, was there any blight or anything?
No, just the
It was just
the
a
condition of
technical,
the land.
it was just a
Upkeep.
technical, yeah, okay.
I know this is a special use. Was there a special use permit?
Subsequent special use was approved for the second story, two-story house that's being
Okay,
placed on the property.
okay. I know that you said that the owners here, did any, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did you want to say anything, or?
I think just
Okay,
that
you're
the,
gonna-
I can speak. So
Okay, that's fine.
The house is 60% complete, it should be done within 120 days. My client pulled permits, and the issue was, I guess, with COVID and everything, to procure financing with the banks and everything was just very difficult, and that's what prolonged getting the building going, getting the process going. But now it's done, and again, as the Vice Mayor raised, this was just a vacant lot. It wasn't that we were dumping anything on it or anything else. So my client's asking, that the fine be mitigated, or
And this will be put up for sale, obviously, once the
Correct.
process is done.
it will be.
Could I get is there a recommendation from staff as to?
There is, I spoke to Juan about the case, about the file today, and we believe $5,000 will cover the time spent on the file, the inspections by the code enforcement officer, the appearance before the board. So we do have time that we need to assess some kind of administrative reduction of the fine. Nonetheless, we recommend that you leave the fine at $5,000 or mitigate the lien to $5,000.
Any questions for the manager, for Mr. Penna, or for Mr. Diamond?
How long was this in violation?
We don't have the file with me, but I believe it was over a 2-year period.
Over a
Yes.
2-year period?
Yeah.
So it was demolished,
It
And,
remained vacant for a year and a half, 2 years, before the construction actually started.
okay.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, could you please read the resolution, please?
Yes, item 10D, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of $5,000 from Luxor Residential Holdings LLC on code enforcement lien for code violation of the property located at 5770 Southwest 9 Terrace, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid by, and what period of time did you recommend to, is to be paid?
That's up to the commission, but we recommend 45 days.
Would 45 days be sufficient?
Yep, the time's not a problem.
Okay, in 45 days,
45
then
days.
the amount owed shall revert to the original lien amount, providing for an effective date.
Second.
Call the vote?
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
Mr. Diamond? Mr. Diamond?
Mr. Diamond, the attorney. Next item, please.
Item 10E, this is a discussion and request for possible action regarding the 2022 Easter egg hunt. This item is by city manager.
Madam Manager?
Madam
This was,
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Commission, as you know, time flies around here, and so we wanted to know what the position of the commission is with respect to the Easter egg hunt. We had hoped to see a much quicker reduction in the COVID numbers and all these variants that we're dealing with, but I bring it to you because time is of the essence. If we are going to move forward, we need to start securing some of the items from the vendors and making plans with Public Works and staff. And right now, we have limited staff because we do have people out on sick leave and on COVID.
Any comments from the table?
Well, I think actually everybody's taking care of this problem about the COVID-19 and the festivities and
You know, I don't think this is ever going away.
I know.
I don't think this is ever, so you know what? Next year we won't have it, and the year after that we won't have it, because guess what? This coronavirus, it's a flu, it's never going away. It's never gonna go away, so, you know, I mean, you know, children are pretty much, pretty healthy. It's up to the parents, you know, to have them attend or not. I think that we should consider it.
we have 2 years ago behind Publix, right? The cars were passing by and, oh no, you mean the festivities is the festivity of the
hunt.
children run?
Yeah, the children
Oh.
run. The, how long, Madam Manager, what's like the shortest amount of time that you can you would be able to put together a decent event? And I know I'm asking for a lot, but what would be the shortest amount of time?
Thanks for asking that question.
And I ask only because we're seeing, you know, and you see in South Africa, for example, you know, how quickly this strain came and how quickly it went.
It went.
And, you know, there's some projections, and we don't know if they're going to come true for a little while, but that we're reaching our peak now. And so, you know, it would be a shame if you know, a very infected but sort of immune population in April, if that exists, that we don't have an event.
So let me
Yeah,
go to
please
the
go ahead.
calendar, if I may, Vice Mayor. April 17th, 2022 is Easter Sunday.
Mhm.
Generally, we do that a week before because the kids will be out of school that week before
Right.
Easter Sunday. So let me now look at the calendar and give you some.
But excuse me, we have, the county have some directions about this, because many cities follow the county rule. Do the county permit these festivities? I'm sorry, or the county cancel all these festivities?
Right now, most municipalities have canceled their events.
And the Miami-Dade County, what's it?
The city of Miami had a year-end event at Bayfront. That's the only event that I heard from. The city managers have all notified me of, up until the end of 2021, that their festivities.
No, my question is, the mayor of the county, Daniela Levine Cava, is some kind of opinion from her canceling
No.
the cities?
No, there's no opinion from her office.
They are going to get involved in this? Do you have idea?
No, I don't believe so. I think that's for each city to have their own regulations regarding
Because we are 3
COVID.
months away, so I don't know.
So we're talking about a possibility of an event on April 9th. You know that there's a shortage of goods and supplies, and there's not only a shortage of the inventory items, there's a shortage on the shipping. So we have a budget to purchase the items. If you're thinking along the lines of having an event, I think that we can come back to you at the next commission meeting, and hopefully those numbers are going to start trending in a positive way. And we can make a decision at the next commission meeting if this is something that would make you feel a little bit better.
I mean, I think it's worth the effort to at least see where it's going by then. By next commission meeting. It could very well be worse.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying,
What do you say that, Commissioner?
there might be information.
What do you say that?
You mean,
What do you base that on?
Okay, I want
Well,
no, let's, hold up, I need,
Because
hold up,
I mean, it's
one
just-
second, guys. You can all talk for however long you want. I have all night. I just need you to do it one at a time.
My question is, where is the reasoning behind not doing it? Where is the science? Where is the,
May I answer, please?
yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay.
that's what I'm asking.
Nicholas Children's Hospital is full with kids.
Your microphone, Commissioner, is it on?
Yeah.
Can you bring the mic down so we can pick up the sound? There.
Yeah, okay. And this is not
Children's
the-
hospital is
One
always
at a
full of
time, one at a
kids, sick
time.
kids.
No, but they
Okay,
are sick.
guys, can we not speak one at a time? Commissioner Blanca, go ahead.
I just already said that, that's what I have told you. And the hospitals are getting full again.
Where'd you hear that?
Well, one from my son that works in a hospital,
Okay, and what else?
Coral Gables.
This is in Coral, but who in Coral Gables? I mean, this is all hearsay, what you're saying.
Look,
Well,
Where are the statistics? Show me the proof. Show me the
you're just
paper.
because you don't
know
believe
what?
on the
There's some
vaccination.
people that
One
will say-
at a time, or I end the conversation now.
There's some people that say that the hospitals are empty.
Oh, yes, I don't hear that.
I do.
Oh, I don't know where you hear.
I do. I heard from my cousin,
Oh, good.
just like you heard it from your son.
But you don't believe on the vaccination or anything. You don't believe on this.
Oh, wait a minute. What do you mean?
You told me you don't believe on this. You said it's like
What,
a
what does
flu.
that have to do with what we're talking? Why don't we leave personal things out of this?
No.
It's got no place to talk about personal things on the
Okay.
table. All I'm saying is, why are you saying no, it's a bad idea?
Because they are kids and they can get
They're
infected.
healthy. Kids are healthy.
No, they are not. They are not healthy.
You know what? They say that fear is a reaction, but courage is a decision. And
Okay.
you know what? Well, you're reacting, and you know what? You're being fearful. You know what? Maybe kids don't want to think the same way. Kids want to have fun. Kids want to be out. Kids want to be out in the sun, have fun. You know what? Collect the eggs like they've done year after year. Just because you think it's a bad idea?
That is correct.
I have a
Well,
question.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think that we
You're
should
next.
purchase what we need, and for some reason, things go south, we can have all this materials for next year.
And candy, I don't know if
Well,
it'll spoil.
Okay.
May I?
Well, we
Yes,
can,
one-
May I-
as soon as Commissioner
Now,
Blanes
I
is done,
think
you're
Vice
next.
Mayor Diaz-Padrón was proposing, wait until next commission
Next
meeting
meeting.
to discuss, right? I follow that.
we'll have more information.
Yes, I follow that. This discussion we will have in 2 weeks with the next commission.
Correct.
agreed.
Okay, everyone in agreement that we
Yeah, I
discuss
agree,
this
I
next
agree.
meeting? Wonderful. Madam Clerk, would you please carry this over to the next meeting?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, next item.
Item 10F, monthly report by Freebie ridership for the month of December 2021.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's a
Yes.
report in your packet
Mhm.
from Freebie, which includes the first month with the extended route. I think it's not the complete month, but it's the month of December. We were a little bit over 300 in ridership. Everybody seems to be very pleased with the transportation and with the vehicle that they're using. So
It is the complete month.
it is.
It says 12/1
I'm
to
sorry.
12/31.
Yes, that's correct. So we had about 300 and, let me see, I'm actually looking at the November. That's the one I have in my package.
We had 316 total passengers.
316 for the month of December. So I think ridership is well above any of our expectations if we compare it to our old city loop system. And so we're talking about another expansion to the route, and I think that if that ever takes place, and I think it will, it's really gonna, we may have to put in a second vehicle at some point. So I think it's going well. Interestingly enough, I was looking at the breakdown, I don't know if you've looked at it, the breakdown of the ridership. And the young people are the one that are really taking advantage of the Freebie program more so than some of us who are an older generation, I want to say.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Oh my God.
We're at 34.2%.
Yeah, we're almost there, but I'm glad that the young generation, and I've seen a lot of moms with their children, go to the park at Cooper Park and get picked up. So I think it's been a great program for the city to embrace.
And I've heard nothing but compliments on the
Yeah.
program. Nothing but compliments.
And their drivers are very courteous as well. So that concludes that agenda item with the report, unless you have any concerns that you wish for us to take back.
Any questions or
Thank you.
concerns? No? Okay, very good. Thank you, Madam Manager. Mr. Penny, do you have anything on this report, on the Freebie? Okay. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 11 under new business agenda item, this is item 11E. This is a public hearing, a second reading of the ordinance of the mayor and the city commission of the city of West Miami, amending city of West Miami zoning ordinance 282, deleting parking credits and bonus parking credits, amending parking requirements for apartment buildings, deleting 5.10 relating to mechanical parking, adding new section 5.10 to provide for submittal of a parking management plan for certain developments, deleting section 431 of zoning ordinance 282 as amended by 2014-01 related to live work units, increasing notice requirements for new construction in the C mixed-use district, allowing for online publication where allowed by state statute, repealing ordinance 2013-01 related to live work units, repealing ordinance 2017-03 related to mechanical parking, providing for conflict correction, providing for severability, providing for transmittal, and providing for effective date. This item is sponsored by Vice Mayor Diaz-Patron. And this public hearing was advertised in a newspaper of general circulation, Madam Mayor and Commission members.
Thank you. Before I open the public hearing, Mr. Penna, I'd like you to, if you could, summarize or explain to me in layman's terms some of the differences between what we have now and it's going to change to if this were to pass.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Basically, it eliminates a couple of ordinances that we had allowing for mass transit credits when the buildings were located near a transit hub, like a bus stop. We allow a maximum of 15 additional parking credits for the buildings that were built at that time. They really just showed as more parking spaces when they were calculating, and then the 15 reduced from it would just show as a bonus that the buildings were using, especially if they had live-work units in it, because the intention was that folks that would live in the live-work units would not be going out to work, they would just stay there.
So that eliminates, there's 3 ordinances that are being deleted or changed in some way here. And the mechanical parking was something that was an idea of one of the commissioners back several years ago, where it allowed more parking within one space by putting a mechanical lift. There was only really one project that was approved with that, and that project never came to fruition. So eliminating it doesn't harm anything that we have pending or in the books right now. And the other actually allows us to go with the thoughts of the zoning board, which increases the notice for special use plan developments and special use permits to 2,000 feet around the subject property. It also allows, or as I mentioned to the Vice Mayor in our discussions, that we should include the increase in the fee from $2,000 that it's presently at to the $3,000 to cover the additional area that the zoning board wants notified.
We're going to increase the fee to whom?
To the developer.
I see, okay.
Those are costs that we bear, and we pass it on through the fee that we charge.
Understood.
If I could, just go down the list and kind of summarize the conversation that me and Mr. Pena had, and that also led to some suggested amendments that I would like to introduce also. Number 1, the ordinance also addresses parking for apartments.
Correct.
It raises, I have it here from the printout you gave me. It raises the parking from 1.5 spaces for on premises for each dwelling unit of 2 bedrooms or less, and 2 spaces on premises for each dwelling unit of 3 bedrooms or more. It changes that to 1.5 spaces for premises for each dwelling of 1 bedroom, 2 spaces for 2, and 3 spaces for 3 or more. So it increases the amount of required parking that they need to have for apartment units to kind of mitigate some of the issues we're having with cars flooding onto the neighborhood. In our conversations, we also discussed that there's something that's happening in these buildings is they give you a parking space, and then they give you 1 parking space. It doesn't matter if you have a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom unit. They give you 1 parking space, and then they force the residents, the tenants, to pay for additional spaces. And what's happening is, as you noted, as police have noted a couple of times too, is they're opting to not pay for the additional spaces and instead park in front of the neighborhoods, in front of the houses. And that's something that we kind of want to curb, because we do want these projects to be self-contained. So one of the amendments that me and Mr. Pena were talking about is, as part of the special use permits, but as part of the ordinance, for apartments to, and I need some helping on the wording, Mr. Attorney.
Yeah, not to allow them to segregate the parking from the unit.
Right, so for at least, and I know, I actually thought about it more after we spoke, and what I kind of thought of, you tell me what you think now, I'm sorry we couldn't talk about this further, is for units of 2 or more spaces, right? If of units of 2 or more spaces, have 2 parking spaces included,
At
right?
a minimum.
Right, at the 2 spaces included without option by the tenant, because
Right.
what I don't want also is that they come back and they say, oh, your rent is $1,500, but if you don't use one of the other, if you don't take one of the
Yeah.
parking spaces, it'll be $1,400, because that's the same thing, right? So without option, they would have to provide 2 parking spaces at a minimum, right? For units for dwellings of 2 units or more.
Correct.
Right. Did you get that, Mr. Attorney, so you can see how we worded that?
Yes, I will.
In other words,
Okay.
given the 3-bedroom unit, the option of actually having that 3rd spot, if they wanted, they would have to pay additional for it, but
Right,
at
I
a
mean-
minimum, they would have to have 2 spaces.
Right, up to the apartment. If the apartment wants to give them 3, beautiful,
Correct.
right? And maybe they don't need 3, but that base minimum 2. The second thing we talked about is raising, like you said, the planning and zoning recommendation to raise the special use permit fee to $3,000, which will cover a lot of the notice requirements that we're increasing. The third amendment would be on section 510, new section 510, adding a letter F to include locations of signage designating parking for mobile and on-demand services that are covered in this section 510. What section 510 is a submittal to Mr. Pena's department that would force these developers to plan out where mobile services, pet grooming, on-demand Uber services, all this stuff would be located. Because what's happening now is that it's not contemplated, and they're then parking in the banks, they're parking in the private property, they're parking in front of the houses and the driveways of houses, and it's again not a big, it's not a urgent problem you have to call it, but it is an annoyance and it can be contemplated. So having that contemplated beforehand, submitted to Mr. Pena's department, he sees it, he can okay it or disapprove it and work with them prior to occupancy and work on that. So the amendment is adding a letter F to include signage, where locations of signage for mobile and on-demand services. So those were, am I missing any of the amendments?
No.
So
correct. That creates a parking plan. What we learned from the buildings that were built, like Uber and all these other guys, they tend to stop on 67th Avenue instead of inside the building because they don't want to get caught in the security system of the building. So that's one thing that is a good thing to have to indicate, when there's services like grooming services that are coming over, instead of parking in somebody else's parking spot or outside in the street, to have a designated area and the signage showing them where to go so that it's not up in arms.
Right. And the last two things I'll mention is
Vice Mayor, before you go on
Yeah.
that, I've noticed, I don't know if it would be inclusive in this, FedEx, UPS.
Correct.
I don't, because I know you've given examples. here,
Correct.
so
On-demand services.
Would that fall into that?
Yeah,
FedEx
on-demand
would be on
services.
demand?
We would have them create two large, parking spaces
They have to
to,
be large enough for those FedEx and UPS trucks?
correct,
Okay.
like we did for the sanitation trucks, but now
Okay.
we're including
Okay.
on-demand
Right,
services.
exactly. And then, so the last two things I'll mention is, it reduces available residential density by eliminating the live-work units, which I don't know how many buildings use actually implemented the live-work units. Was it only for these 57th or on 67th?
No, all
also?
6.
All 6 buildings had it.
Yeah.
And we've shown what's kind of happened there. It's become just additional residential without any, work component.
Correct.
So
I think we had, since we passed it, we've had one business at 950 that actually used it as a
right, and they're
work
gone.
unit.
Right. So they
were mostly using them as residential.
right. So it would eliminate the live-work units, which would reduce the amount of available residential density. And then in terms of the notice, just to make a clarification, the 2,000 feet resident notice is for the commercial area. Think projects that are going to impact usually a larger area. The special use permits, which I don't know how many of them, I don't know how, is it just 2-story houses that require a special use permit in the residential area?
The majority, yeah.
Yeah, so those will only require a 400 feet radius
500
notice.
feet.
Because it doesn't affect a whole neighborhood, it just affects
Correct,
their
but it's
street.
presently 500 feet.
Right, it's 500 feet, it will remain at 500 feet.
Right.
The increase is only for the commercial corridor. Am I missing anything? No, so that's it.
Why would we completely delete the mechanical elevating devices? Why wouldn't we leave that in as an option? Why delete it?
The
Why
only,
be so
like
black
I
and
said,
white?
the only time that we had it, in order for a mechanical lift like that to work, you need to have a 24-hour valet service. And most of these buildings have one maintenance guy that works there.
And you have 24 hours.
Right.
No, I'm just saying, what's the purpose of deleting it? Why black and white? Why can't
Because
it just be?
the only parcels that have that used that were very tight, small parcels that we really don't want developed into a high-rise. We want, when we went into this, we were thinking of complete city blocks like 63rd and 9th Street,
67th and 21st, 22nd, 23rd, where it actually allows the parking garage to have room and you don't need that kind of mechanical equipment.
So let's say if a development in the future would want this, they have to come to us for special use? Or are we saying we're forbidding
deleting it completely.
We're forbidding it in its entirety?
We're deleting it from our code. It's worked only in, like I said, we've seen it work in parking garages downtown where the space is limited, and in order for them to make maximum profit, they allow them to go to a mechanical lift. But in a building like this, you don't want a tenant trying to operate that lift where it could actually damage.
No, that part I understand. I just was
So
wondering why we're going
it's not very feasible.
All right.
You know, one of the reasons is I don't want it to come a special use, which, you know, we have to, there are certain things as of right, and, you know, when it's in there, it provides the opportunity for it to happen, and I think our neighborhood, look, the reality is buildings on 67th and 57th don't have 24-hour employees, and they're big, right? So the people who would use this type of thing would be a smaller lot. There's no way they would have 24-hour attendant, even though they were supposed to, and they might start that way, but they're financially will not be able to maintain that way. And I don't, you know, it just takes away any future issues we can possibly have with this, which would be really, really annoying, because what would end up happening is that lift would break, the attendant, they won't be hiring the attendant anymore. We're either to revoke a special use permit for an apartment. It mitigates the issues.
This is possible only in the big buildings, not big or medium, but buildings that the people pay a high maintenance, and the people have a full-time employees, and they have to give you keys, and they get the ramp, and they go see fifth floor, and they move the mechanical thing, and your car is on top. They have to take the car down. They have to do your car from top to down. This is a nightmare. Only in the big buildings, you know.
Is there any other way to put the car?
24 hours working people, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's an idea that they called the Viñas. You remember Viñas, right? But that was a crazy
Right,
thing.
that was the one project.
Now, I have a question for you. May I?
Absolutely.
What you're talking about the parking is by the bedroom? 1 bedroom, 1 parking, 2 bedroom, 2 parking, 3 bedroom, 3 parking? That's what you present?
It's so currently, let me just tell you the difference. So currently, we are at 1.5 spaces. So the total amount, right, is calculated. It's calculated by 1.5 spaces for 1 and 2 bedrooms. So for a 2 bedroom, they have to build 1.5 spaces. For 1 bedroom, they have to build 1.5 spaces, and then for 3 bedrooms, they have to build 2. That's how it is today.
Right.
And the idea is 1 bedroom, 1 parking, 2 bedroom, 2 parking, 3 bedroom, 3 parking?
Actually more. 1.5 for
the
1
bedroom.
bedroom, 2 for 2 bedroom, 3 for 3 bedroom. They have to build that. So it's an increase in
So
parking.
1, 2, and 3?
1.5, 2, and 3.
You know, that
1.5
half has never made any sense to me.
Well,
So why do we do the half? Why can't we keep it whole numbers? I mean, seriously.
In the 1 bedroom, it's good to have the 1.5
For
because.
what? A mini? A
No,
bicycle?
no, because
It's a calculation.
Seriously,
They
what's
add
the
it up.
half for?
So
For real?
if they build 2 1-bedroom units, they have to build 3 parking spots.
exactly, and maybe the one apartment may have just 1 driver, but the other unit may have 2 drivers, and that's why it works in the calculations. It creates an additional parking space down the line every 2
Right.
units.
Every 2 units will create one additional
Parking space.
Well, it needs to be reworded, because that half just makes no sense. But okay, that's just my personal
And
opinion.
then the delivery, you're trying to create a delivery area, right, for Uber?
Yeah.
It's a delivery area.
Yeah, it's basically,
It's not contemplated now?
It's a management
And-
plan.
right, it's a plan for how you're
Let
gonna do it.
let me finish my question. The difference is that today, now, is not contemplated. And
Right.
your idea is in the future be contemplated, have a delivery area for Uber, or Lyft, or
FedEx
Federal
or
Express, whatever.
UPS or whoever.
Have a delivery area for that. The people doesn't have to be around the building looking for.
Correct.
That's what you.
The only thing that's contemplated right
And
now is
actually, we don't have
sanitation.
that.
No.
And in a perfect
And
world,
and
they'll
other-
use it.
The other thing is the live work unit. Actually, the live work units is the same size, right? And they work. The only thing is they have a special permit to come here to be
They had,
typing or
they had special, they have requirements to get a permit for an occupational license for
from
whatever
the, from the
business.
building, from the developer, they have to have the.
No, from us. And at the same time, it also,
And there is a certain number of those units in each building.
correct. And it also provided for, access from the arcade.
But I mean, that doesn't have nothing to do with the size of the unit.
No.
Not the size of the unit.
All right, that's
The
what
amount,
I want to be sure
Yeah.
that what we're
Right.
talking about live work unit is not, nothing to do with the size.
No.
It is with the amount of units in each building that I are allowed to get a permit to work in there.
That's correct.
That's okay, that's clear, thank you. So what else to change?
That's it.
it was just parking notice, the live work units
So the
and,
difference is going to be 1 bedroom, now it's 1.5?
no.
Right now, it's
It's
1.5.
1.5 for one right now, but it was also 1.5 for two
Two bedrooms.
right now. So we're changing it, so it's
1,
two,
2, and 3.
1.5, 2, and 3, yeah.
Yes.
So for bedroom, 1 bedroom, 1 parking, 2 bedroom, 2 parking.
Right.
Don't forget the .5.
Because every 2 units, you
Five
create a
bedroom,
Oh,
district.
.5, the
Oh,
half. We
1.5.
can't forget the half.
1, 2, and 3.
1 and 1.5.
I know that it's a funny way of, but it does make sense because you remember they don't build a parking spot for a unit, they're building a total amount of spots. So it's just a way to calculate how many spots they need to build.
So your formula is bedroom and parking.
Yes, but bedrooms and parkings.
Okay, I need to open this public hearing. Public hearing open. Anyone here to speak on this item?
No, Madam Mayor.
By the way, I just recognized you, those eyes behind the mask. Welcome back. I keep looking. I said, oh my God, he's back. Welcome back. That's it? No comments? Close the meeting. Madam Clerk, have you read this
Yeah,
yet?
would you want to read it again?
No.
Did you read, have you read it?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you have, okay.
Yeah.
I need a motion.
Motion.
And your
Yep.
idea is
okay,
eliminate
who
the
motioned?
living work.
Yes,
And I second.
totally.
And I second.
Wait, but
by Vice Mayor.
motion
Hold on, hold on.
as amended
As amended.
for the amendments that, I discussed with Mr. Penna.
How many living units we have now in the
And
building?
second by Commissioner Blanca.
But we hold those motions.
We don't have
Yeah,
any, there-
Still have discussions.
we don't have any living units actually in the building.
Yeah, so let me just address that point. So,
Point of clarification, Mr. Attorney, I have a motion and a second. Can we
You have
still take
to-
a point of clarification?
It's a point for clarification, but
Yeah.
you have to go and vote no.
right, it's just a clarification. So the live work units, they allow you to have the business in it and live in it. None have any businesses in them. They're just acting as apartments right now. But what they did allow people, the developers to do is put more, in essence, they put more residential units onto the ground floor. By eliminating the live work units, you eliminate that, so it actually reduces the amount of residential units they can put in a building.
And we don't have any living units now.
We don't have any operating.
We have 6 buildings with them, and those don't change. Those stay,
Right.
that ordinance stays with those buildings. It's going forward, the new buildings will not have the ability to have live-work units.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Attorney, my motion and second still holds?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Call the vote, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes,
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes,
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
thank you.
Next item.
Item 11B, discussion
amended.
in reference.
Passes as
As
amended.
amended.
As amended.
Yes. Item 11B, discussion in reference to electric vehicles charging stations as a follow-up to Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón's commission item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Commission. I have been, as a follow-up to an item that the Vice Mayor brought forward late 2021, we have done some follow-up work with getting to know and getting to become more acquainted with these EV stations, as they call them. They're charging stations for electric vehicles. And so they're not intended for residents, because if a resident purchases an electric vehicle, they have to have the electricity to plug in that vehicle in their home. That basically comes with a car. It's like a kit. But these are changing times, and so we have been looking at places where we can actually look at implementing the program so that we can have clean energy and, take part in this innovative and environmentally friendly programs in our small municipality. So we find that there may be a fit for a charging station at the West Miami Recreation Center because there are numerous activities going on every day there. And more parents are looking as probably their second vehicle becoming an electric vehicle, and they take their kids to the park, and so some of them may need a quick charge. So we feel that that facility there, because of the volume of visitors that they have, may be a good place. And then the other place would be by Cooper Park in one of the either on 15th Street side, on the 15th Street side, or on the 16th Street side. We have been looking at a grant that we have been awarded. Robert Ruano, as late as 6 o'clock this afternoon, was calling for Raymond Friedman, which is the administrator for the state grant that's being administered by the county. It's another TPO grant, to see if we can recommend to you the outright purchase for one of these stations, which we wouldn't have to, we would generate revenue and not have to split it with anybody else through a partnership program. But there are partnership programs out there that they build the infrastructure for you, and then you can work out an agreement that will serve to be a revenue sharing mechanism where the vendor gets his or her cut, if you would, and the city would also make a little bit of money. I don't expect for this to be a huge revenue maker. I expect for this to become a program that we embrace because of the changing times and the new technology and our, clean energy efforts and environmental projects. So I'm looking into this. I wanted to bring you a report. Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón knows that I'm working on it. We have presented a small preliminary assessment of what our goal is to implement the program. I learned today that Florida Power and Light has a program, and I'm going to be pursuing a conversation.
I have a question for the manager.
I'm going to be pursuing this conversation with FPL because they may have a program that will suit our needs in the event that we are unable to purchase the stations with use of grant money. The grant money is given to us for transit-related programs and for clean energy and for environmentally friendly projects. So we believe that we may have a project here that may fit and that we will be able to purchase the charging stations. The alternative would be, because this is not in the budget, is to come to you with an agreement for a partnership with someone who's already established in the community, perhaps, not piggyback, but model an agreement that another municipality may be using with a vendor. So we're not ready to make a recommendation because I still have a lot of questions, but we're certainly moving forward in that
I have a
direction.
question, Mayor. Vice Mayor,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Padron, you brought this, this is, the manager is talking, but you brought this item to the agenda, right? Now, my question is this: is this a company that they do this, they bring the chargers? Because if it's a company that they set the chargers, and do we have to pay for that, or they come, they bring the chargers, and they make whatever profit is, that I don't care, as long as it doesn't cost us, I don't care the profit they make.
Yeah.
But if they come and they put that, the expenses, they take care of the expenses, they make their profit, but we get the service.
Right.
Is that the way?
Yeah, so what the manager is talking about is two different ways. The way that I brought forward to the commission is exactly that.
Because that's what I see here, the
Right.
electric charges.
Right. So there's two different things that she's talking about there. So the first way is what you're talking about now, which is that the company comes in free to us, free of charge. They put the station. They split the revenue with us, and expenses, maintenance, everything is on them.
And we get the service
Right.
to the residents.
Which is still my preference, and I know
Right.
we've talked about it a couple times.
Right.
Which is still my preference. What the manager is also exploring is we have a grant already where we have to use it on transit-related
Projects.
clean energy projects. So she's exploring the possibility of purchasing the stations with grant money and just taking all the revenue. My preference, to be honest with you, is still the way where it is completely free to the city.
But I
Now-
understand,
Yeah.
I understood that this item
Mm.
is somebody that you, before you talk here about, that the company that you know, that they come and they give that service, charge.
Yeah, we're
Now,
actually.
I
yeah.
don't talking about what she's planning
Right.
around, because that's a future, and maybe 22 or 23, 23,
No,
I'm
no,
not talking
no.
about that.
The grant
I'm
has.
talking now what you present the first time you talk about it.
Right. So what we discovered and what the manager discovered in a lot of conversations is that company that I had talked about, because I had mentioned one or two, there's actually a few companies.
There's a few companies.
That are doing the exact same thing because they want to get their stations out. So, you know, I think with the managers in talks with a lot of them, and she's gonna have a good idea of which
And
one's
what is
providing
the
the best
difference in the
one.
plan, her plan?
Now, the one thing I did learn, Vice Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
through all these conversations that I've had, including with the county, is that we have to provide the electrical support to the charging stations.
Right, you have to run-
Through
you
our
have to run the
partnerships.
power.
We have to run the power.
Right, which is
So
something that
that's
we're to talk to
something that-
FPL after they.
I don't understand.
I have a question for the
No,
attorney. I have
Yeah,
a question for the
if I
attorney.
can just answer Commissioner Suarez, just try to clarify one
We
thing.
talk- What I ask you, and we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
is that company, they come, they install that,
Right,
and they charge for that, they pay for the installation, and they pay for electricity,
No.
and they charge to the guy who bring the car,
right.
and whatever profit they do, I don't care, because that they spend their money making installing that.
Right.
That's what
You're exactly right.
Spend money in that.
You're exactly right.
That's why she's talking about another thing that we have to pay for electricity.
Right. No.
These are two different things. Bring another day.
No. What she's talking about now is not us paying for electricity. The only cost we would have in that thing where they bring the charger is that we would have to run the power, just that one-time cost, not paying for the electricity, just the power's over there, we have to run the line. We have to run the line, that's it.
Why don't we let
But
the
the
why don't we let the
other company is
manager
better.
explain what she's going
Is
to
the company-
explain? Let's hear it from the manager.
The first company, they do the installation.
Right,
That's a better company.
right.
Okay, I have a question,
have to
Mr.
spend money
Attorney.
there.
I heard two words, multiple vendors. As soon as I heard multiple vendors, isn't this going to require a bid process?
It might require a bid process pursuant to what is it that we want to do.
But as soon as I
We
hear the
don't
word
know-
multiple vendors, that's a
We
flag.
don't know what we want to do now.
Okay.
And we don't know what kind of costs we're looking at either, because it all depends what kind of charger you get. Now, there are fast chargers that will power up a car in less time than your average charger that you have at home.
Either way, as soon as I heard the
So-
word multiple vendors, that's a
Exactly.
big flag, so I
So-
need to be sure we follow the
And
bid
there are
process.
multiple,
Exactly.
yes, and there's a
Okay.
procurement process in
Perfect.
place, and we would
We
have to
discuss another day.
design
Perfect.
a scope of service for the work and put it out
Right,
there.
so again, this is not obviously anything urgent. You've been working on this, because I've been getting the updates from you, and I really appreciate that. But, and I appreciate the update, so let's try to get some more information, let's try to get some more concrete information.
Right.
On, after, especially,
And I would like to talk to FPL.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And then that way you can bring that back, and, let's get information if we went one route, whether we have to go to bid, all that stuff.
Right.
So we can make a decision on that. Again, my preference would be that there is the zero cost, the hybrid program, zero cost, they maintain, they charge, they profit share with us, and we're able to identify another project to put more capital on that grant. But again, I'm open to hearing, the others, but that would be that's still my preference. But let's get all the information, let's get it out in the open,
Right,
and let's go from there.
And if I may, just
two
to
different
keep it in the
things.
record,
You have to bring those things separately. Don't complicate one with the other. You have been talking about the two together. And I recommend you the next time you bring A and B. Because I confuse with that. So
Okay.
you bring A and B and C and D, that is more easy to understand.
Duly noted, sir.
Thank you.
Leave it up to the manager to
All right,
clarify.
one more
with
thing
them
that I
later
did
on.
want to leave on the record is, there are some guidances provided by Miami-Dade County. I actually sent the link with the memo, with the actual assessment, and there are citations involved with keeping these electric stations, these charging stations. If somebody goes to the park and there's no available space and that charging station is vacant, a vehicle has to be cited by the police department according, if we're gonna follow to the letter of the law. You can only park a vehicle at these parking spaces throughout the county, everywhere, if you have an electrical vehicle that needs the power to be
Joanna,
charged.
The new buildings, they have 2 chargers each building up in front of
And
CVS.
Publix as well.
When you're coming out from CVS in the 67th Avenue, you see the 2 chargers there in the building.
Correct.
This is all over the county.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's not too complicated.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we'll come back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chris, and I'll follow up with you, Vice Mayor.
Okay, moving right along. Next item.
Item 11C, report and recommendation by the Office of the City Manager in reference to possible extension of the Freebie service by expanding the program to 7 days per week with hours starting at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. by City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and members of the City Commission. I may have had this conversation with you, but we have another grant which we need to utilize by December 2022 from the state of Florida, which is administered by TPO office, the same office that we're looking at for the charging stations, a separate grant. This grant has to be used, or we have to give the money back to the county. So what we are proposing, and I talked to Javier Betancourt at the office of the CITT, is increasing the level of service by expanding the days of the week and make it a 7-day per week program, and expanding the route, with the use of the expanded route, expanding the hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. so that we can reap the benefits of the grant. And then we'll have to revisit other grants potentially in the pipeline that we could go for to continue the program. Otherwise, we may need to revisit this sometime in November at the end of the year. So I think it's a good idea, and I think that people are really picking up on the Freebie on-demand service. And so I believe that it would be a good fit if we increase, at this time, we amend the agreement with Freebie to provide for the service as presented, and utilize the grant at the same time.
Any questions for the manager?
Well, I have a question for you. I know you
For
like
me,
the
I didn't
freebie.
present
I
this.
know you use the freebie
I
a
love
lot. I
Freebie.
know.
I'm all for
I
this,
know,
but
no,
I'm
I
asking,
agree.
I'm asking for everyone else's opinion.
I agree with the service, and I know you like it.
And no one's taken up on my challenge, because I know none of you have
I
ridden
know,
Freebie yet.
I know.
Right? Am I right? Has anyone
Yeah.
taken my challenge? Have you ridden Freebie?
I tried.
Okay, you tried. What happened?
The
They
other
didn't-
one-
They refused to pick you up?
The new one I didn't.
Okay,
No, I
well, my
haven't.
challenge is still there.
No, I haven't.
You
The
all
electrical-
should try this service, but
Electrical I don't. Maybe Commissioner Blanes like it because it's like electrical.
Is
okay.
electric?
So, any questions for the manager or comments on this item?
No, I agree with that. If it's the money used for that.
We got the resolution next.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if you can read the item D, please, the resolution for
Yes,
this.
item 11D, resolution of Mayor and City Commission amending Resolution 2021-39 by authorizing the city manager to amend the contract between the City of West Miami and Freebie for on-demand transit service to include the expansion of hours to include service from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and expanding the program to a 7-day per week program to be funded by the proceeds from the transit surtax coming from the CITT and a TPO grant in the amount of $60,000 through December 2022 with the possibility of expansion of route to our south, providing for a February 2nd, 2022 effective date. City Commission.
Motion.
Second.
Call the vote.
Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Thank you.
Item 12, consent agenda items, and you will have one resolution as a consent agenda item.
Anyone wish to pull this consent agenda item? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any dissent? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 13, good of the order.
Anyone for good of the order?
I got something real quick.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
This is in regards to the engineer's report and the almost finishing of the phase one of the potable water project. Thank you. You know, let me tell you, that's one of the greatest accomplishments that we've been able to do, because that you know, the infrastructure, you know, of our city, is fortified. You know, all these homes in this area and in the future, the other homes, single-family residences and apartments, you know, their infrastructure, water infrastructure is solid for years to come. So I am so glad that we were finally able to accomplish that, and looking forward to in the future accomplishing the other phases. You know, this is something really monumental, I think personally.
Commissioner, I have to agree with you. It's been a long time coming, and compliments to this entire team that's sitting up here today. We were able to make it happen, so congratulations to us all for all our hard work, and looking forward to
Thank you.
the completion of it. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Meeting is adjourned.